Hey guys, how you going? My name is Dom, and in this video we're going to be creating this scroll to top button using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Alright, so this will be the final result. If I was to scroll down here, then click on this button, we scroll back to the top of the page with a nice smooth animation. So this can all be done using plain JavaScript, no libraries are required. But I am going to be showing you 3 examples, and one of them uses jQuery. The other 2 are done in plain JavaScript, including an example with the animation. Okay, so as far as the icons go, I'm using Google Material Icons for the up arrow, but of course if you want to, you can just use text saying top, for example, on the button. Alright, so basically it can be done using plain JavaScript, HTML and CSS. Alternatively, you can use libraries if you want. So let's go inside this Material Icons guide. I'll leave a link to this in the description. You can go ahead and of course include this link tag inside the head of your page if you choose to use icons to achieve this button. So back inside, inside this HTML file right here, it is plain, the button is not there, and it just contains a bunch of dummy text for us to of course implement the button on. Alright, so let's go inside the text editor right here and examine the current file. So I've got here just all the dummy text inside this div, and I've also included the Material Icons library up here, and also jQuery. As I said, once again, these are not required to achieve this, but you can use them if you want. Okay, let's begin by creating the actual button itself. So let's make a new button down here with an ID of btn scroll to top. Inside here, we're going to place the Google Material Icon. So we're going to say I with a class of material-icons, and that is the usage of the icon library. You just give a class of material icons, and inside here you put the ID or the name of the icon. So I'm going to be using the arrow underscore upward icon, and that will render or display the arrow upwards icon that we saw earlier. So that is an actual name inside the icon library. You can of course go ahead and look through the icon library yourself to pick whatever icon you want to be displayed here. Alright, let's just save this and refresh the page, and we have this right here. Alright, so you notice that I've actually included the button below the H1 tag. You can of course put this wherever you like because it's going to be positioned to be on top of everything else anyway. So you can place this wherever you like. I'm going to be putting mine just below the H1 tag. Alright, so let's begin on the CSS. Let's target the btn scroll top ID. Sorry, btn scroll to top ID. So of course this button right here. We're going to give it a position of fixed, and this means as we scroll down the page, it's going to float on top of all the content, okay? And that's why it doesn't matter too much where you actually put your button in the HTML. Alright, we're going to give it a right of 10px and a bottom of 10px. This will position the icon or the button in the bottom right corner of your page, 10px from the bottom and the right. Alright, we're going to give it a width of 50px, and same goes for the height, to ensure we get a perfect circle. Speaking of that, let's give a border radius of 50%, and that will of course make it into a circle. Let's give it a background of E62739, a nice red. We can try a box shadow. Let's say 0010px RGBA with 25% opacity on the black there. A color of white, an outline of none, and don't forget your cursor as being a pointer. So I can save this and refresh the browser, and we have this right here, looking quite good. The border is still there. Let's just go back inside here and just give a border of none to remove that gray outline. So I can save this, refresh. We have here the final result. We can see if I was to scroll down, it stays above the content. So it works quite well, and also it works good on mobile devices as well. So go inside here and it works just fine on mobile devices. All right, cool. So we also want to add the active pseudo class to make sure it actually goes down to a darker red when you click on the button. So back inside here, let's say btn scroll to top and target the active pseudo class. We're going to give it a background color, or change it to be CC2 and then 3 threes. Save this and refresh, and we have here this result. So all the CSS is done, all the HTML is done, we can now begin on the JavaScript. So this is the easiest part. So inside your text editor, of course, let's go down to the JavaScript section and first get a reference to the button itself. So let's make a new constant, call this one btn scroll to top equal to document.query selector. We're going to pass in here btn scroll to top. Of course, you can use document.getElement by ID instead if you want to. Alright, so now we have the button referenced in JavaScript. We can then say btn scroll to top dot add event listener. When it gets clicked on, we're going to run this function inside here. So I'm using the function instead of the arrow function to ensure we get Internet Explorer compatibility. So here is where the 3 different methods of actually achieving this comes into play. So the first way is going to be in plain JavaScript, okay? And that'll be done just like this. You say window.scroll to, and you put 0 and 0 inside there. Alright? So in this case, it's going to work in Internet Explorer as well, but there's going to be no animation. So I can save this and refresh the browser and scroll down a bit, click on here, and we scroll back to the top of the page. Works perfectly fine. Okay, so this may be all you need to satisfy your needs, but of course we're going to look at now how to actually animate that effect whilst scrolling. Alright, so back inside here, let's look at the second example. So I'll just comment this out and go down here, and we're going to say window.scroll to once again. This one's going to take in an object. This object will contain 3 properties, very similar to these 2 right here. So we're going to say top as being 0, left as being 0, and behavior as being smooth. So just real quick, back on this one right here, this first 0 means it's going to be the top position or the top scroll, and this one means the left scroll. Actually, it is left and then top, not top and then left. Sorry guys. So basically, these 2 are equivalent to these 2 right here. And the behavior of smooth is going to make it have a nice animation. So I can save this and refresh the browser, scroll down a bit, click on this, and we get that right there. Perfect. Alright, so that won't work in Internet Explorer, and I believe it's actually quite limited to browsers like Chrome and Firefox, but you never know, it may work in more browsers than you actually expect it to. Okay, so back inside here, let's also take a look at what it means if you put 50 as the top value. So I can save this and refresh once again, and now it's going to be 50 pixels from the top of the page. Let's click on this, and it scrolls up only 50 pixels to the top of the page. We have those 50 px still scrollable. So basically that's what you're doing by setting it to 0. You're essentially saying, yeah, I want it to be 0 pixels from the top of the page. Alright, and that is your second method using plain JavaScript to achieve also the smooth animation. So the third method is going to use jQuery, and this will give you the best results in terms of compatibility and also animation. So we're going to say inside here, HTML and body. Okay, we're going to say animate, and we're going to say scroll top as being 0, and also give a slow duration. So of course, very similar to these ones right here, but in this case, we're simply saying scroll top. These ones may require you to put in your left and your left inside here, but in this case, using jQuery, you only specify this scroll top value, and you say slow to give it a nice slow animation. So I can save this and refresh and scroll down, click on it, and it works just fine. So this way here with jQuery, or I think if you're using a library which supports compatibility or supports Internet Explorer and Safari, etc., then of course a library is your best bet to have support for all the browsers. So typically with a application like this, it's going to be some sort of commercial website or even a blog or something like that. So I think compatibility matters a little bit when it comes to having these sort of scroll to top buttons on your websites or web pages. All right, and that is how you can achieve the scroll to top button using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.